I'd like to open this extraordinary meeting of the Armidale Regional Council and introduce myself. Vivian May, or Viv May, is my name, and I'm here for the next 3 months. So I hope I can make a difference for the community. Welcome to this Armidale Regional Council meeting of the 18th of June. As Interim Administrator of the Armidale Regional Council, I declare that I will undertake the duties of the Office of Administrator in the best interests of the community and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and directions vested in me to the best of my skill and judgment. I come to the role pursuant to an order under the hand of the Minister for Local Government dated 11 June and published on the 19th June, suspending the Armidale Regional Council for 3 months. Recognition of traditional owners. I acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. The Armidale regional community pays tribute to their love of land, love of people and love of culture. A statement in relation to live streaming of council meeting, that is webcasting. The meeting is being audio and video recorded, and the recordings of the non-confidential parts of the meeting will be made available on the internet. No other persons are permitted to record the meeting unless specifically authorised to do so by council. Public addresses on the agenda items, have your say. All speakers are requested to ensure their comments are relevant to the particular agenda item. The chairperson may withdraw the privilege to speak where a speaker makes personal remarks or criticisms or uses abusive or inappropriate language. Speakers do not enjoy any special protection arising from comments made during the council meetings and should therefore refrain from making defamatory remarks or personal defamatory statements against any individual. Mobile phones, I ask that those present ensure that your mobile phone's turned off. Obviously, there's no apologies. Disclosures of interest, I don't have any, but I have a statement I'll be making. Do any staff have any disclosures? Thank you. Public forum, have your say. Does anybody wish to be heard about? I'm sorry, I've just been told that you have to notify to start with. Look, I've only been here a couple of days, so you have to bear with me, and I've done as much myself as I can possibly do at this stage. I have interim administrator's minute. If there's any press here, don't write like crazy, because I'll give it to you. But this minute was prepared by me without any assistance from staff, or it was typed very confidentially yesterday for me, and the staff are not aware of the content. For the next 3 months, while I'm the Interim Administrator of Armidale Regional Council, residents may be assured that I will do my best to independently serve in an open, honest and transparent way, ensuring all voices are heard. With this in mind, it is important to record that I've had professional relationships with suspended Councillor Ian Tiley and the CEO, Ms Susan Law. Ms Law was the principal of LKS Quarro, a local government consultancy that I occasionally assisted with Fit for the Future assessments at several regional councils in New South Wales during the period February 2015 to January 2016. My involvement was mainly centred around council structures, governance and scale and capacity. Other than being invited as an independent in a Kempsey Shire Council Director recruitment in December 2017, I've had no other assignments with the consultancy. Dr. Tiley is very well known in local government professional services circles, and obviously our paths crossed on a number of occasions, being administrators during the period May 2016 to September 2017. I come to this role with an open mind and will aim to address all the issues raised by the Minister for Local Government in her correspondence to the Council on 19 May 2020. Residents, councillors and staff must question, as I do, how did it come to this? Money and energy better served in the service of the Armidale Regional Council community seemingly wasted on matters that in my view are not the charter of the Council. From my early discussions at both the political and operational level of the organisation, this is becoming increasingly apparent. I am very conscious from my past experiences as an administrator of the uncertainty that the suspension of a council brings to some employees. Add to this the drought, fires and COVID-19 must be having a negative impact on people who just want to get on with their jobs. Loyal and dedicated employees deserve better. It is important for everyone to appreciate that I have not been appointed as the General Manager of the Council, and the day-to-day operations must and will continue in a seamless way. In that regard, I should mention, however, that I have asked that the Council offices be reopened as quickly as possible and that a stop be put to any outstanding of Code of Conduct matters until I've had the opportunity to better understand their context. As already indicated, I have started meeting with suspended councillors, and my door will be open to any person who may wish to meet with me over the coming weeks. It's extremely important that confidentiality be maintained in all discussions and correspondence with me. In that regard, I have directed that all emails forwarded to me be only accessible by me. Experience tells me that many and varied issues will be raised, and I will make a determination whether they are more appropriately referred to the administration for action. A mobile phone has been provided to me with the following number, 0427 293 082, and while it may not be possible to answer immediately, residents are assured that I will return all calls, generally during business hours. If this does not suit, please advise me in your message and I'll ring you out of hours. Correspondence addressed to me will be opened by me, along with relevant confidential emails will be maintained in a secure way that complies with statutory requirements. I would like to thank the staff of the Council who has put in place at very short notice the audit controls to ensure that any person has absolute confidence in approaching me. The community deserves better from its council, so let's commit to work together to restore a democratically elected Armidale Regional Council as soon as possible. I would move that the minute be received and noted, resolved accordingly. The next item is the integrated planning and reporting. What I have asked the staff is that items be introduced so that residents know what is going on. So it's just not put straight before the council. So I don't know who you're doing. Okay, I'd ask Ms Law to introduce it.
Thank you, Interim Administrator. The Integrated Planning and Reporting for the 2021 Operational Budget, Resourcing Strategy, Fees and Charges. This is a very important piece of work for consideration both by the community and, of course, by the Interim Administrator for the forthcoming financial year. And I'm pleased to present it. Let's be very clear, this is not a report that is written solely by myself. but it's actually the culmination of several months' work by all council officers, particularly their managers and general managers, and I'd like to acknowledge their contribution, especially that of our Manager Finance, Kelly Stidworthy, in getting it to this state. The operational plan and budget has, of course, been developed in consultation with the Council. Briefing sessions were held on Wednesday 13 May and Tuesday 9 May. Necessarily, these briefing sessions were held by audio-visual link due to the COVID-19 restrictions and attended by the Mayor and councillors. The Integrated Planning and Reporting Framework requires Council to adopt an operational plan for the purposes of public consultation. It details the activities to be undertaken for the forthcoming financial year and the Council's commitments to the community for the forthcoming financial year. It is, of course, derived from the 4-year delivery plan, which was adopted by the Armidale Regional Council for its term back in 2017. The 2021 operational plan is supported by a resourcing strategy, which includes a budget, a revenue policy which details rates, annual charges and water consumption charges, and a fees and charges document. These documents are being adopted today in draft. A public consultation process will run from tomorrow, Friday 19 June, to Thursday 16 July, during which time council officers will conduct face-to-face and online community consultations that will include those villages and those towns outside of the Armidale city. The community has the ability during this time to make submissions to the budget. Details will be available on the Council's website from today. And following the public consultation period, any submissions received will be considered before the final budget is adopted. We will also, at the face-to-face community consultation fora, be taking notes and taking the feedback that may come from the floor. It's important, I think, to describe how we led into the budget process, because during this time, the Council continued to meet the challenges presented by drought, bushfires, flooding, and finally pandemic. We're still waiting for the locusts and frogs. These represent significant individual events, but this region has experienced them all in 1 year. All of these events have had a detrimental impact on our financial position. During these challenges, the 2021 budget manages to minimise the forecast operating deficit to $2 million. This is a significant achievement considering the impact of the downturn of the economy on revenue sources such as interest, airport user charges and rental income. The impact of COVID-19 alone is estimated to cost the Council $826,000 in lost revenue for 2021. Importantly, Council's general fund deficit is only $1.24 million. I highlight this result because the general fund is the source of funding for all council services apart from water and sewerage. I will also take this opportunity to highlight the general fund unrestricted cash position. As at 30 June 18, the unrestricted cash balance was very low at $1.5 million and just above the recommended minimum balance as advised by the Office of Local Government. Unrestricted cash is forecast to be $2 million by 30 June 2020 and nearly $3 million by 30 June 2021 in the 2021 budget. This is important as unrestricted cash is the only buffer the Council has against the unexpected. To illustrate, during the drought, Council used $7 million of its own reserves before we started receiving some reimbursement by the state government. That's $7 million. Given what has occurred in 2019 and 20 in terms of unexpected events, it highlights, and I can't stress strongly enough, how important it is for the council to have a safety net. An unrestricted cash position of $3 million would only cover around 3 weeks of council expenditure if the council, for whatever reason, was not in a position to receive payments. The draft 2021 budget contains a $40 million capital program. There are a number of key projects in the program and details are contained in the operational plan, and I would urge you to have a look at those. The details on rates, annual charges and fees and charges that raise revenue sources that will underpin the budget are contained in the revenue policy and the fees and charges document. The rates freeze has been extended to 30 June 2021 for ordinary rates, and new land valuations will apply to rates levied for 2021 financial year. This will not change the overall rate revenue apart from the 2.6% rate peg increase. However, individual properties may experience variations if their land variation has moved lower or higher relative to the average in their rating category. The rates freeze does not apply to annual charges. In 2021, we are proposing to harmonise annual charges and water consumption charges for the former Armidale Demerit Council and the Guyra Shire Council areas. Water access charges had already been harmonised, but not sewer. Sewer access charges are proposed to be applied consistently in the 2021 financial year. Water consumption charges have been reviewed in the light of the significant reduction in revenue from reduced water usage while the community is on level 5 water restrictions. This has been necessary in the light of the significant cost of the response to the drought. Waste collection charges had already been harmonised, but not annual waste charges for vacant and rural land. These are proposed to be applied consistently in the 2021 financial year. In 2021, we are proposing that the Landfill Levy, currently only applied to the former Armidale Demerit Council area, is applied to all properties across the region. This levy recoups the capital cost of construction of the new landfill located on Waterfall Way. The new landfill will commence operation in 2021, and this will result in additional operational costs. A new waste charge is proposed to be introduced to cover these costs, and this will apply to all properties in the region. Finally, I would commend this report for adoption today for the purposes of public consultation, which will commence tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing the public at those fora.
Thanks very much for that. I've got a couple of questions from what you've just said. And look, I'll be asking the staff to introduce items before the council, so it brings a context. It might be a bit selfish, but I need that too. You said that there were meetings with the councillors on the 9th and the 13th of May. Did they all attend?
All of them attended, but not all, not to both, and not for the full duration. Some of them didn't attend for the full duration of the sessions, and not all attended at both sessions.
Look, I understand we live in difficult times, having to do stuff over the net. Were notes taken by the staff of the questions raised by councillors?
Yes.
Can I have copies? Look, being the new boy on the block, I want to understand where councillors are coming from before they were suspended in relation to the budget. So if I could have a copy of the questions, and then I can really take it from there.
Questions were sought before and during those sessions, for which we took notes, and we have provided those answers to the councillors and were circulated to all councillors. Would you like a copy of those?
Yeah. Was it recorded? The two sessions recorded?
Yes.
Look, I'm up here full time, and I'm finding it difficult, finding things to do at night. I don't watch much TV. Can I have that made available to me so I can just see the context then of the questions being asked? It will just help me better understand, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Look, if I could just say that I've always dealt with general fund. I've never dealt with water and sewerage. So I'm on a sharp learning curve when it comes to this. But I've got to say the general fund from a first look doesn't look flash to me. And I look forward to finding out why over the coming weeks. And, you know, I've got 4 weeks during the exhibition period to do that. The operational, what do you call it? The communications engagement plan doesn't talk about the villages.
It's being currently revised.
Okay, well, if I'd emphasise that I've only had a preliminary briefing on the budget. I have been talking to suspended councillors most of my time and had a preliminary briefing, but I would emphasise that my action today will only be to put this on public exhibition. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it because I don't know enough about it, but I can guarantee residents I will know a lot about it in 28 days. But I would move on the page 3 of the business paper items. Before I do that, is it the custom of the council to incorporate what you said into the minutes?
No, it isn't, but we can do so.
Can we start to do that,
Yeah, we can.
please? So I'd like that I'm not going to put it in the resolution, but I'd like that incorporated into the minutes, if you don't mind. As an aside, and I'm not being critical, I just didn't find it easy to read the minutes. I could find it by going back to the business papers quite easily, but I just would like more context in minutes. So I would move from page 3, items A, B, C, and I'd amend D slightly, that council note the accompanying communications plan outlining the proposed engagement for the exhibition period and amendments thereto to ensure, what did you say, villages and towns? Residents in outlying villages and towns.
We generally talk about them outside of the city centre.
So it would be villages and towns outside of the city centre. Can you read back what I've said? I'm sorry.
It's up there.
Oh, okay. This makes life easier. Thank you. That council note the accompanying communications plan outline proposed. Yeah, hang on. You can hang on a second. You can take out the council note the accompanying communications plan as altered, in the council note the communications plan as altered in the explanatory advice of the General Manager or CEO, ensuring that residents of, and what's the word? Of residents of villages outside.
So residents outside of the city centre.
Yeah. Are also afforded the same opportunity as those in Armidale and Guyra. The council note the accompanying communications plan. take out outlining in the proposed engagement. That make sense? Yeah, I think that makes sense. I would declare that motion carried. In the minutes, if you can put, to bring a context also, what the officer's recommendation is, so that when you read them, you can see if there's been any change. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, that's fabulous. Okay, I think that's all the business. I declare the meeting closed. Thank you.